You know what's great? Going to a game. You know what's not great? Parking at a game. With Uber, you can turn event parking into a non-event. Just install the Uber app. Enter your destination, confirm your location, and within minutes, a car will pick you up. I know, right? With upfront fares, you can know the price before you go. And you pay with the Uber app so you can save your cash for the souvenir shop. So make tonight a fun night. Install the Uber app now and take your first ride today. Uber, the better way to get there.
Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group. And here with me as always is Chip Janiszewski from the Hapoiness Success GPS. Chip, how are you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Got a brand new year ahead of us. We're going to talk about tips and tricks to really get the most out of your year and see where you can build your success. So,
Absolutely.
Chip, why don't you kick us off? What tips can you give us for building up?
Well, it really all starts with that person in the mirror, which is you. A lot of people have heard about doing strategic plans for businesses, but every person really needs to work on themselves first, because whatever you're doing professionally in the other areas of your life is a function of doing that. So the more that you can plan for yourself, the better off you're going to be moving ahead. So one of my keynotes for my business is talking about personal strategic planning. And just to give a quick outline, my process of training, instead of just teaching tips, is to start out with foundation and then preparing for whatever you're doing. And the foundation for life and for everything is starting out with a positive mindset, which we've had a segment or two just talking about that period. And the most important thing there is just to realize that that positive mindset is your choice, and tools for developing that is to really start working on yourself. And it really starts with just realizing that you are a really, really cool person. It's okay to like yourself, unlike what society kind of tells us. And so great ways to work on all the great things that have happened to you in your life are a couple of tools, one of which I call a victory log, which is writing down everything great that has ever happened to you in your life, all of your accomplishments. And then obviously gratitude journal, writing down things you're grateful on a day-to-day basis, and just kind of concentrating on the positive things in life, throwing out the negative stuff, things that I call ear pollution, which is watching the negative news and listening to people complain and that kind of stuff. So number one is just working on the positive mindset, and also making sure that you are an unconditional giver. Givers will attract giving, and that's really very important. And number three, realizing that you're an entrepreneur, which is what this is all about. And then the preparation is really finding out what your purpose and passion in life are. And to do that, take out a sheet of paper and write down what motivates you, what your principles are, your passions, your interests, your likes, your talents, your skills. Do this with other people. Do this with loved ones and family and friends, and kind of work on each other that way. And as you're analyzing your answers, you're going to start getting feelings as far as, why you were meant to be here. Most people, it's obviously to help out humanity in one way or another, but what your professional things are going to come from what you're looking to do there, and also different things that you want to do personally. And then the personal strategic planning part of it is writing down not just for your profession, but for every facet of your life. And just to kind of give you some tips there as far as what these could be, this can be obviously professional, but philanthropic, recreation, physical, financial, spiritual, all these different things, writing down different things that you would like to accomplish in these areas and coming up with some smart goals and doing that, and tracking your results. And with that, I know that you do a lot of work with people and businesses doing that, and you actually have some real good tools to help people out in tracking these things that I've kind of just laid out for you. So tell us about your system.
Yes, when we work with our clients, we've put together a daily planner, but that daily planner is broken up into several tools, and these tools are designed really to keep you on track but also to give you a record of what you're doing so you can go back and reinvigorate yourself. And part of it, as you mentioned earlier, is a gratitude journal. Each day in the daily planner, we have a place for you to write down what you are grateful for that day. And the reason for this is we've talked at length about the power of gratitude. But by choosing something each day, it serves as a reminder that, yes, look at all you have, and it helps put you in the right mindset. Now, one of the other mindset tools we have is that you record your biggest accomplishment each day. We all have days where we feel we're hitting our head against the wall, we're trudging through, and we're really not accomplishing what we want. It's important to look through the days and pick something that you can say, okay, even if I don't feel I did enough today, I accomplished this. And this is something that's good. Now, the reason we record all of these is because over time, you tend to lose focus. As you're going through the year, it becomes hard to maintain, that New Year's enthusiasm. So by recording these things each day, it gives you a place where you can go back and look and go, oh, look at everything I've accomplished so far. All right, let's build on that momentum, and it helps keep you going. Now, we also have a to-do list. Now, we have our to-do list on paper where you check off what you're doing. And the other part of the to-do list is prioritization. We have on our to-do list a section where you can grade something A, B, or C. A is must be done immediately. B is should be done or delegated. And C is nice. It would be nice if I could get that done. By prioritizing what you're doing, you can schedule your tasks to match how you work. And we'll get on to learning how you work in just a little bit. But by knowing what your most important tasks are, you can schedule them when it's best for you. Now, with time management, there are two major schools of thought. One is popularized by the phrase, eat that frog, which Brian Tracy wrote a book called Eat That Frog. He actually took the phrase from an old Mark Twain story. But what it means is you do your toughest thing first. This way, no matter what else you're doing, you've already handled the toughest challenge you're going to have for the day. So everything else is easy. The second school of thought is that you start simple and you build momentum. And then you use that momentum to get over your toughest challenge. Now, it really comes down to when you work best. If you're at your best first thing in the morning, you should be using the Eat That Frog method. If you're at your best later in the day, you should be using the momentum method. Now, one of the other tools we have on the daily planner is a schedule. And with the schedule, you write down your appointments, what you're doing, but each line on the schedule has two trackers. One is an energy tracker. And this is for you to mark off how your energy is at that point during that task. Are you tired? Are you sluggish? Are you energized? By tracking your energy throughout the day and day after day, so you have several weeks that you can look back on, you can get a feel for how you work best. And that helps you schedule those important tasks at the times you have the most energy. Makes it so much easier for you to get things accomplished. The other tracker we have on the schedule is a goal tracker. And what this is, it's a simple circle. And if what you are doing at that moment is directly related to your goal, you fill in the circle. If it's important, you have to get it done, but it's not necessarily exactly on target for your goal, you fill in half the circle. If it has nothing to do with your goal, you leave it empty. This helps you see how much time you're spending on your goal and how much time you're wasting. How much time did you fritter away on Facebook today? How much time did you just kill talking to somebody that, wasn't a client, really wasn't work related? In the old days, it was how much time do you spend by the water cooler? So this allows you to see how you're spending your time. And when you see how you spend your time and when your energy is at its peak, you can use those measures to really put your schedules together so that you're working at peak performance. Because you can put your important tasks, your things that are right on goal, at the point of your highest energy. And this way, you're not struggling to meet your goal. You're excited about it. You're moving forward. And tracking all of these things, it's very important because it is hard to keep momentum going. It's difficult, when the year starts, everybody makes New Year's resolutions. And the joke is, by the second week in January, most resolutions have been broken. You want to keep your momentum going until you achieve your goals. So by tracking it, these different tools give you the ability to do that. Another tool that I personally use the beginning of every year is I have a vision board. And I put everything that I want to get accomplished for the year on that vision board. What do I want to see happen for me during the year? Whether it's a certain number of new clients, whether it's I want to redo the bathroom and get a new washer dryer. It all goes on there. And there's two reasons I use the vision board. One, a lot of people will tell you by focusing on that vision, by having it in front of you, you work with the law of attraction and you attract what you're thinking of. More than that, though, it's a constant reminder. Time goes by really quickly. So by having a board where you have, this is the stuff I want to happen this year, it reminds you of that and helps you stay on task. Like, it's June already. What have I accomplished? Oh, I didn't get to these yet. I've got to make sure I get those done. So all of these tools together, aside from different coaching tools, things like mind mapping to help you keep going, they're all important to tracking your progress and making sure you get where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things we both talked about here was the importance of putting these things down in writing. With coming up with the plan in the first place, it's a lot of freelance stuff and just starting writing things down. And what you have is a really, really unbelievable tool to help keep people on track on a daily basis. And so it's really, really important to start getting things down in writing, and having something to use like that is fantastic. And also, what we talked a lot about, too, is it is New Year's. We do talk about New Year's resolutions and so on and so forth. And by having a tracker is really chunking down items into smaller pieces. And you're a lot more likely to accomplish things if you just do it piece by piece. And so by just writing down that little accomplishment, you talked about the eat that frog method. If you eat that frog, you're writing down your accomplishment first thing every morning, as opposed to waiting till later on in the day. And if you're doing your momentum method, just by starting something out, that's an accomplishment. because most things that don't get done never get started. So it's
That's
not like
very
people stop
true.
in the middle of things, and it's really, really important just to, the tip is if you want to get something done, just start it. And just by going through that, it automatically helps you towards getting through it, because most people just sit there anxiety-wise, I'm going to do this a little bit later and put it off and procrastinate. And the biggest reason things don't get done is because they never get started.
Yeah, that's very true. Whatever you want to accomplish, it's important to start it now. There's an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Because if you haven't already, you plant the tree 20 years ago, you'd have a full-grown tree. It's there. But next best thing is do it right now. Get it started. If you don't get it started, it's not going to happen. And that's a lot of people. It's one of the big problems with strategic planning is that people will spend too much time on the plan and not move on to execute. The plan is important. You have to get that done, but it has to be done, and then you have to execute the plan. Without execution, the plan is worthless.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite books was, I think I talked about before, is all about doing little things every day to work towards a bigger purpose, and it's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And one of my favorite phrases from that book, hear about the phrase ready, aim, shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But most people get hung up on the aiming, and he says ready, shoot, aim. And the bottom line is the aiming is the planning and so on and so forth, but if you do something, you have something to analyze, and you just keep the process going. So in the book, The E-Myth, you have the innovation, quantification, and then orchestration method. It's the same thing, but it's really just keeping things in motion.
That's it. Keeping it in motion is crucial. And I mean, realistically, you never stop planning, because every action you take, you then look at that action and go, oh, well, did it do what I wanted it to do? Yes or no? Yes, okay, we move further forward. No, all right, we got to fix it. We got to make it to get where we wanted to go. So no matter what you've done with your plan at the beginning, you have to adapt it along the way to adjust to real life.
I mean, planning itself is analyzing, but so is you can analyze for planning purposes, or you can analyze something that you've just done and put that into your plan.
Exactly. In the military, there's something called the commander's intent. And it's part of this, a saying in the military, no battle plan survives contact with the enemy. It's true in life. It's true in war. No matter what you do in your plan, once reality hits, the plan is going to have to adapt to it. The commander's intent in a military plan is that ultimate goal, so that soldiers on the ground can adapt the plan on the fly to adjust to the situation on the ground. The commander's intent never changes. So no matter what change you make to the plan, the idea is always to get to the commander's intent. And that's that guiding purpose of the entire plan. The path you may get there may have to change due to circumstances on the ground, but that final goal never changes. And that's something you have to do in your life, in your business. You need that final goal. That's what is it that you're actually trying to get to? And your plan will have to adapt to match the circumstances on the ground. In theory and practice are the same. In practice, they aren't. So you have to be able to adapt. But that ultimate goal of where you want to go, that's your guiding principle. That's what you have to keep aiming at.
Yep, and then your little things, your little actions and activities going towards that are the thing that's going to get you there.
Absolutely. we don't, everybody tends to think, oh, it's one fell swoop. We do it. We get to the goal. And that's really not the case. I mean, take a look at a football game. How many times do you score the touchdown from an 80-yard pass, one and done, and you're in the end zone? Doesn't usually happen that way. Usually it's a succession of plays, little by little, working your way up the field till you finally get there. And on the way, sometimes you fall back, whether it's a penalty or a sack. Your progress isn't steady. It comes in fits and starts, and it can be very choppy. That's what success looks like in real life. It's not this one, aha moment. It's all of these little steps that you have to take to get there.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's an absolute process.
And, as I just said, it includes steps where you might fall back. That's falling back is not the same as failure. When there are times you have to fall back due to circumstances, due to lack of resources. Something may change and you have to adapt the plan. It's okay to fall back. That's not a problem, as long as you keep moving forward overall. We've all heard the saying, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. As long as you're moving more forward than you are back, you're fine. You don't fail unless you give up.
Right, and it's all part of the doing process, which is why, again, we got to get back to the fact that everything is in constant motion. And so the more you are doing things, the closer you are to moving ahead. So there's the books that are out there talking about go for no. Every no gets you 1 step closer to the yes. And whatever happens during the process, it's something that you really can't take personally, because really the only person you can control is yourself and your actions. And all the actions that you do are bringing you 1 step closer to the next one. So it's so important to keep that going. And by tracking things like you've laid out the process, it's so important to be doing that. And just by looking at that, it helps you realize and visualize that you are 1 step closer to getting where you're going. I mean, I look at your trackers almost being a form of a vision board, which I think the way that you put that together as far as having everything down for the whole year in a period of time instead of just, a lot of vision boards are just, it'd be nice to go to Hawaii someday and having a picture on your wall about that. But I think you focusing on a time period for a vision board that's a fantastic method.
Well, I mean, it's always said, a dream with a deadline becomes a goal. So by adding that time factor in, it really does motivate people to move. And, we keep saying it's all about motion and, moving forward. There are a lot of sales books out there that tell you no is a great answer to get when you're trying to make a sale. Because you don't want maybe, you don't want I'll think about it. You want a definite decision so you can move forward. With maybes and I'll think about it, you're still sort of in limbo. You're not moving forward. You're trying to do the same thing, trying to make progress there, but you're not really getting anywhere. No tells you, okay, this avenue's not going to work. Let me try another one. And you can move on and move forward. So, I mean, no is a good answer to get. Obviously, you want more yeses than nos, but the fact is, no does come more often. And no is better than maybe, I'll think about it, we'll see. Be definite. Take that action.
Just 1 step closer.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And action is the key word here. The more actions you put into that, the more no's you're going to get, but the more yeses you're going to get eventually too. And if you are waiting for other people to get back to you on that, I mean, you can be a little bit more direct and see if you can get them to say no or whatever. It's really a way of handling people as far as the way you ask questions and so on and so forth. And if you make them feel comfortable and just saying no, it's a whole lot more effective than just saying, okay, I'll get back to you next week, and you keep checking on the same thing for the next year, which is really just a form of letting other people procrastinate for you.
Right. Procrastinating isn't something most of us need help with. Most of us are very good at procrastinating all by ourselves.
I think we all have procrastination genes. So
yeah, and it is something you have to overcome. It's a matter of getting things done. And the same process doesn't work for everybody. You have to tweak the process so that it works for you. Tons of time management articles out there that tell you, oh, well, the first thing you have to do if you want to be more productive is wake up an hour earlier. Well, you know what? If you're a night person, that doesn't work. That's a wasted hour of your time. You're up, but you're not at your best. You're not functioning. However, if you're a night owl and you go to sleep an hour later and you're working an hour more, that works for you. So there's no generalities. You have to tailor all of these solutions to fit how you work.
Yeah, and your energy tracking tool is a great way to really put that crystal clear for yourself so you can plan accordingly.
Yeah, this way you learn more about how you work. And once you understand how you work, the rest can fall into place, and it's a lot easier to customize it. Well, we're coming to the end of this podcast. So, Chip, if there's one takeaway you'd like our listeners to have, what would it be?
Well, definitely use the tracker and put things down. But the one takeaway that I have is in the future when I'm talking about vision boards, I'm going to talk about making them time-bound.
All right. My big takeaway is take action. Doesn't matter what the action is, do something and move forward. If you're not taking action, you're never going to get to your goal. You've been listening to the Success Showcase. I'm Eric Lopkin, the Modern Observer Group, here with Chip Janiszewski of Happiness and Success GPS. We look forward to talking with you later on. Have a great week. And remember, take action, get your plan into gear, and make this your best year ever. We'll talk to you soon.
Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Geico's been around for more than 75 years, back when they were using Morse code. Sorry, that's just my sense of humor. What's more, with Geico you get 24/7 access to licensed agents on the app, online, or over the phone, so you can talk to them at night or in the morning. So forevermore, just know that no other auto insurer has more than Geico. More power to you. Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
You know what's great? Going to a game. You know what's not great? Parking at a game. With Uber, you can turn event parking into a non-event. Just install the Uber app. Enter your destination, confirm your location, and within minutes, a car will pick you up. I know, right? With upfront fares, you can know the price before you go. And you pay with the Uber app so you can save your cash for the souvenir shop. So make tonight a fun night. Install the Uber app now and take your first ride today. Uber, the better way to get there.